I do remember the last meeting. Thinking. My head, I just couldn't get it in my head.
No, I have some name added to the envelope.
Because that's when I had,
I'll give you mine too, and then.
when Jill said. So, we're coming. Did you get planted?
Yes, I had 3 volunteers.
Oh, that's
All kids from the school down the road.
Oh, okay.
No. Okay. Well,
You're good, Council.
good, okay. I would like to call the Nipissing Township Museum Board meeting to order. Do we have any declaration of pecuniary interest? None. Would somebody like to accept the agenda and second it? Steve and Chris. We need somebody to accept and second the previous minutes. Gladys and Chris.
No, I wasn't at the previous one.
You weren't, okay?
No.
So
I
Chris
read them,
and
but I
Steve,
wasn't.
Chris and Steve, okay. So we'll start with the
Like
first
always.
item on the agenda, and it is finance. Now, I don't have an updated version of the budget.
I don't.
Okay, so we're not going to discuss that one tonight. I don't think there's much change on it from last time anyway, in the last one. So we're going to go right in then to the manager's report. So Jillian, you're up.
All right, so we've been open 8 days and the revenue so far comes to $204,004. And we've had 54 visitors so far, both museum and candy store. So there is a lot for collections. We've got a number of donations from Jane Russell, some of which are the large furniture items, which were mentioned, I think, last year, but didn't get approved because the board meeting was canceled. So I actually have a printout with the items listed and photographs of some of them. Should I pass this around?
So she's willing to ship this out.
She's
at her
gonna,
expense.
yes, everything's gonna be at her own expense.
We're not gonna use it.
Yep. So it's just a matter of whether or not the museum wants to accept them. You know, if we have the space, if they're of significance. I have looked through them. And they all have strong historical significance. They all used in this area. Some of them are from the local school. So I sort of made notes next to some of them, you know, if I know, okay, we could probably just place some church, like there's space for this item.
There's a space for everything.
We could probably make space.
I'm thinking, so just the one cabinet.
There was the cabinet, there was a dresser from the hotel, should be another large furniture item. Or for example, she's offering 3 dining room chairs from the Nipissing Hotel, except the one in the best condition. That kind of thing.
And that could be displayed with the bench, I guess.
Yeah. Things would definitely have to be shuffled. We might end up having to put a few things in the storage, so I'd have to check whether there's space in storage. There's also another person who's offered us some smaller items. So WF, I didn't actually get, oh, Robert Caldwell, who is WF Clark's grandson, who was one of the original settlers of Lawson, is offering some photographs of the Clark family, as well as a large looking of the original Clark log cabin.
That's all Park House related, right?
Yes, so I was looking through the museum's mandate because I know we have some Clark House artifacts. And it does say Nipissing Township and area. So we could argue that it does fall within the mandate, especially since Lawson no longer has a museum. But it might be worth updating the mandate. If to make it more specific, if we want to either sort of specifically include areas around or like a specific kilometer radius or something like that. Otherwise, I mean, you can kind of could be getting a lot of stuff.
I think that's a very good idea, just, to put some parameter on what we're accepting.
And I can see why they want to give it to our museum because there aren't any others nearby other than calendar.
Yeah,
That's basically,
and ours is one of the oldest ones around.
yes.
so.
Yeah, that might be a good idea, Jillian.
Okay, so we're gonna hold off on accepting that particular donation.
Yeah, I think we should. Let's check with Mary about that.
Okay.
We'll defer it to the next meeting. Okay. Because if there's any links missing, she will know. I know the Moors are all from here. all
Yes,
of that.
and they're all, the items she's offering are specifically ones that were in the store,
Yes,
that were in the hotel, that were in the Promised Land camp. which
very
is-
lucky to have
Yes,
that.
she's been absolutely wonderful.
They're
She's
great
sent
family.
a lot of information and taken all the photos and wonderful and things like that, so. Yes.
Everybody look before we talk about that. Okay, anything else?
So there's another collections issue, with the outdoor artifacts. So the saw that's in the parking lot, the one that, like just, it's actually partially on the neighbor's land, and apparently it was not an artifact. It was something that was put there as a display item.
Do we have any information on it?
What I was told was that it belonged to the friend of one of the previous curators who sort of put it together with things that he had at his house in order to make a display item.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Is that
Yeah,
that
it wasn't
big-
something that
is
was-
that big piece of wood
Yes.
thing?
The old buzzsaw, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
And it's rotting, the wood's all rotting, so the metal pieces are just falling to the ground. And putting the tarps over it in the winter, I noticed that they just collect water. It's hard to,
Is there anything salvageable on it?
I mean, we could take the metal parts, but I'm not sure that they're of any historical value to the township. I'm not sure that it's worth saving. And it's worth noting that when I was talking about this with the neighbor, Andre, he offered to take it to the dump for us.
Oh, I guess if it's on his property.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a-
partly, like halfway, not Yeah.
There's no problem. It's not a significant area in the third story. I would suggest that we decommission it and let it go. Is everybody in agreement? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
The other thing that, I don't know if it's something that the board would be interested in, the thresher, like big mechanical thresher, I've been told by 2 separate people that, again, it was brought in as a display item. That particular one was not used here. They may have used some like threshers here, but that particular one does not have any significance to this township, except that it's sort of, I heard the same thing, representative. So I was wondering, it might be interesting, since it's sort of hard to see how it works as is. If we could take off one of the sides and put plexi on it so that people could see how the mechanisms worked, and that might give it sort of more educational
Well, we
value.
did that with one of the corn huskers
There's
in the hardware store.
a plexi on the front, but I didn't see it on the side.
In the hardware store?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we put it on the top, it was so somebody couldn't put their hand in there to get hurt, but
Right.
it's a good idea, I suppose.
Okay. It would just have to be, I guess, budgeted.
There was a 1903 case thrasher at the Clark House Museum. I know because I sold it to Mary. And I rescued it from the back of the field at my place when I first moved out here. And it belonged to Martin's. It
Oh,
was bought brand new in 1903 and used it there. Now, I don't know what Mary did with it. It was at the museum. She bought it off me to give to her husband years ago. This is when she was working at the OPP station out there.
right.
Oh, that was a long
Yeah,
time
that was
ago.
years ago. And, yeah,
That one
so
would have
she
some
might
value, she
have,
still has it.
you know, if you're looking for a thrasher that has local
That would
history.
be
That would make
awesome.
sense, yeah.
I would be worried that it would also end up in the same state.
Well,
It's
this
really
one
difficult to
is,
Protect them just with tarps.
it's, the only thing on this one that is wooden is the tongue.
Okay,
Everything else on it is metal.
okay.
So Mary might have a line on it. I don't know if they left it at the museum. I know that they donated it to the museum at one point because it was sitting at the museum because Bonnie, every time we go to Pulaski, we go, I'm glad it's out here, not in our front yard.
Do we want to defer that then until Mary gets here next week? Or
We
next
should
month?
marry a call.
Yeah.
I haven't seen another mechanical.
I know the one that I sold to Mary was workable.
That, yeah, that would have. That would certainly be. Cool to have. We can take care of it. So the next thing is lighting the hardware store. So I checked the lights that we stored in the altar. They work and the electrician approved them. But because what they are, like they all have individual plugs, they might have to retrofit things in order to install them, which might cost more money. We're waiting on an estimate for that. However, just recently the lights have been okay and they've been staying on, so we might just hold on for another summer.
I so know you're looking into it.
Okay.
Yeah. And lighting for the gazebo, there's several options for hanging outdoor lights. I couldn't find solar options
Okay.
for hanging. But I priced it out and it would probably cost about $120.
That's plug-in, right?
That would be a plug-in. That's not including extension cords or getting the electricity put in the gazebo. That's just the.
And we use
They
them.
don't make solar
I
hanging
don't
lights
know.
anymore? They don't make the solar hanging lights anymore?
I just didn't happen to see them.
Did you check in?
I have one.
Yeah.
You make them. I was told to check home part.
Oh, I just saw online.
Amazon has it.
Amazon has it.
That's where we got
Yeah,
our,
Amazon or Wayfair or something
Yeah,
like
any
that.
of those, any of those sites, you should be able to get one. I have. Yeah.
and unfortunately, you can't use an extension cord, so.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, that's good to know.
Check in.
Well, better to,
We have
So
an,
until we actually.
we have an Amazon account too.
Oh, we do.
So if you find one that you like, just let me know and I can assist you in that.
But we'll hold off until we get electricity.
For what?
Gazebo?
No.
If it's solar.
Well, for not,
Solar, we don't need it.
oh, right.
So if you find the solar on Amazon,
Okay, sorry.
get that Will's order.
Okay.
They're within the budget.
I have
Okay.
solar lights on.
Okay. So we're once again having problems with Facebook. It won't let me post anymore because it's considered a gray account.
it was what?
It's considered a gray account because it's a business page. It has to be managed by someone who has a real account with a real name. I can't just make a museum curator's account. It will not let me. When Kris comes back, she's gonna help me figure out how to fix that. And otherwise, it will have to be someone's personal account who's managing it. And I have, if anyone's interested, the township has a new website and social media policy. So another result of that is that the Instagram account that was created, I think in 2019, apparently was never approved or anything, so it's been disabled. Because I think whoever started it didn't realize that, like, it needed to go through the office kind of thing.
That's because we didn't have policy.
Well, I think we also just knew its job and didn't know what we were allowed to do, not allowed to do, what we should be doing, shouldn't be doing.
Now, I did notice, so I was looking on it tonight, but I didn't see a lot on Facebook about the museum grand opening.
That's
Summer.
because it
Right,
wouldn't
yeah.
be
But
posted.
it wasn't on our, it wasn't on Nipissing Township's event site. And it was not on, it was also Nipissing Township Command event site, it wasn't on there either.
Are these
They are
Facebook
both under,
pages or are they
no,
under
they
the
are
Nipissing
under the
School
Nipissing Township. But if they'd been on there, we could have
Oh.
probably shared that.
We could have shared it to the
Yes.
other site, yeah.
The
Oh,
last thing on, I could show you, the last thing on,
so sorry, can you tell me what those are again?
they are community events, Nipissing Township. Google that, it's not on Facebook, and that's the last thing that was posted, Heritage Day 2021. So I think we have to inform the office that we want it on there. And the other ones is upcoming events in Commanda, and the only thing on there is, was their dance they had on that April 24th, so I don't know why that's
Did
not.
they
being-
put it just on the museum page itself? Is that maybe?
No, these are other community events.
No, I'm wondering if they only post the event on the page.
I see what you're saying, that they should be doing both,
Yeah.
in my opinion anyways.
I get people to come out with the proper advertising, so.
Yeah.
We do need a bigger presence on social media, we don't have it. Any ideas on that, Chris?
I mean, I think we need to get into like a social media manager tool, like a Hootsuite or something, which from managing 1 or 2 profiles is free anyways, and then it's a little bit easier to manage and post, and you can schedule and do certain things that way, I think is there. I know that I've messed around with the one here, and it is a nightmare the way it was originally set up, and trying to keep ownership of it is a little bit of a challenge. So potentially thinking about maybe doing a group as opposed to a page and slowly transition people into a group.
Yeah,
might
a group, I think, is a good idea.
And so there's potentially you could start up something else, but I know based on the way the social media policy is, I don't know how that's going to be in terms of getting through,
Yeah.
but
Well, we have groups in the township like the Ruth Lake group. Is there a McCoy
Yes,
Lake
but
group?
that's
private.
that's private.
Yeah, that's true, that's,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's all private. We'll have to go through the policy with a fine tooth comb, but Chris will be able to give you the answer right away.
Okay.
I mean, we could have a group of privately, but somebody would have to set it up.
The problem is that, you know, everything sort of changes every
Yeah,
year.
I know. And, you know, if you're not here next year, you know, somebody else has to step into it. I get it.
But I'm not sure even, I have to look through it again, but I'm not sure even using a personal profile would be acceptable.
But if we had a group, we could have administrators on the group.
Yeah, but shouldn't this be coming from the town office, that they have this all set up and managed?
Yeah.
But if they're managing the Facebook page, and I'm always like, we were trying to.
They have to put you on as an admin, don't they?
Yeah,
Would that not
Yeah.
make the, am I correct?
like you have rights to it,
Yeah,
even though they said, they should be, I don't know, this is just my experience, it's that usually the organization, which would be the township, would set it all up, and then you would just have
She'd be the
access
admin.
to
She would
it
be the admin,
to be able
Yeah,
to do what you need to do.
Well, I mean, I think I did try and set myself up as the administrator last year, and that just didn't work
okay,
very well.
yeah, it's the way they have it set up now at the office.
I would talk.
I'm not sure that the Facebook page is set up that way. I can check.
Well, that's the way we need it set up, because administrators are gonna change all the time.
Because it's always gonna change.
Yeah, so
Well,
it's always gonna be. a
Hopefully not,
problem.
but it is. We know it is, even though we hope it doesn't.
Yeah, I just don't see that this is our problem to
Yes.
solve. This is the township.
Sorry,
problem to
it's
solve.
not my thing, but I don't believe we set up the Facebook for the museum. I
No,
think it was a staff member.
I don't know. who
Yeah,
originally
no,
set
I think
up.
it was a staff.
Yeah, so we can do it because all ours are all linked. So Chris and I both can administrate it
Well, that's what we
off
want.
both of them.
That's
Yeah.
what
So
we
off
need.
the fire department one and the new township one.
Yeah.
Both of us have access so we can watch it and change and delete
Okay.
or edit at any time. So it is possible.
Okay.
We can
Okay,
help you with
perfect.
that.
Oh, that's great.
That's what we need done. 'Cause I
It's
know
just
that-
so that we have it, so two people can watch it all the time, because one person has a hard time watching it.
Yeah,
So at least if you have a couple on there, they can watch it. And if something goes out of proportion, you can catch it right away.
okay. Perfect. Thank you.
And the next thing is mixing newsletter. So we get a little bit of space in the newsletter.
Yes, that's coming up down below. We can discuss that in the next.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's
I just had it.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the events, the season opening celebration was kind of quiet. But the people who came seemed to really enjoy it. We had 19 people in total, came and took cupcakes.
That was on May 21st.
Yep. And toured several people who toured the museum. In the American News. Laurel Campbell came by.
Oh, that's too bad. Did she have cameras and everything?
Yeah.
Did she get pictures of you? No, she got pictures of you?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
she talked for like an hour with one of our tourists.
Oh, okay.
It was
Yeah, that's
perfect.
a tourist
That's not what
from
I meant.
Switzerland
That's not
or?
what I meant. Wherever he came from.
Holland, yeah,
Holland.
from Holland,
Right, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there was a couple visiting their nephew or
So we should
something.
have something to pay for them.
Probably, eventually. Yeah, so, yeah, and then there were a few leftover cupcakes. I called the donors and then gave the leftovers to the public,
Okay.
other employees.
Yeah, my husband didn't tell me that you had called until 3 days later. He went, oh, yeah, you were supposed to go get cupcakes. I went.
I figured you wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind at all, but it was just
Everyone else
funny.
got back to me. Figured I could make you some. if you-
No,
if
I
you
don't
wanted them
need
back.
cupcakes. It's all good, thank you.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was quiet, but it was really good. And then this past Saturday, I didn't advertise it very well because of the Facebook problem and I wasn't sure about the weather and other things. But I did put it up on the sign outside the museum and I got 3 people to come do like a planting day in the garden, so. That was Saturday, May 28th. So the next thing is the upcoming events, and I don't have the full budget with me, but I did make a note that we have $1,750 or yeah, $1,750 for events. So I was wondering if we can get live music for Heritage Day, Pie Fest, and possibly the Fall Festival Market. Could we use some of that money to offer musicians? How much?
These aren't cheap, and we'll get to Heritage Day in a minute, but we will be working with the rep council on Heritage Day. We are going to combine that and start a Heritage Day later. The July the 1st, what day does that fall on?
Friday.
Friday. Okay, so that's the day we're having,
The second was the rec day for the,
the second day will be the
yeah, July 2nd on Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. So that's when we will be having the fireworks on July the 2nd. Okay. So, if,
Is that the grand opening for the playground as well?
Yep.
yeah. So we could, as we have done in the past, open the candy shop. If you want, I think that would be a good idea. Only till a certain time. We don't want people stumbling.
What time?
I'm thinking till 8 o'clock.
So, and how would you like the staff's day to be structured?
Mhm.
I don't mind working extra hours, but I know you probably just want to keep it to, well, I don't know, you can tell me. I don't mind working extra hours. I don't mind working the regular shift and just doing it later. I don't mind splitting it. You guys just tell me what you want me to do.
Well, you're the manager, would you figure out, how you gonna do that?
Let's go with that, 2 students. Okay. It's 8:30, right?
We will be closed on March 1st. Now, the other alternative, if we didn't want, we also would bring the candy floss machine over.
We could.
Okay, we'll test it. Well, we could do a combination, candy floss machine and have the candy store open.
We have no way for it.
If we're using it outside, we don't need the lid. So,
If we do both, though, we would either, well, it will depend on whether the students are willing to work in the evening or we'll need a volunteer to do one or the other.
you've got your volunteer list.
Yep.
Okay.
The only other thing on,
And the other thing is too, you might be able to have volunteers in the candy store. Some of them have worked around the cash, so you may not need the students in there. So you work that out.
and the only other thing on the list was the students that started, both doing really, really well, really happy with them, and they'll be able to start full-time as of Wednesday, June 29th.
Who were the students this year?
Jeffrey and Avery, they're both in high school.
What was the first, I know Avery's doing it for us,
Jeffrey,
and last name, or, oh, forget it, it's okay.
I'll email you. if I
Yeah,
can't
that's
remember.
okay.
Well, and also not online.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Keep some
Yeah.
PII
We
going
don't
on.
need to
Yeah,
mention
yeah.
names.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so do we have a date for Pi Day set?
So I think
15th, you said?
17.
17th, July.
And Heritage Day, we are going to work with the rec committee. So I just had a brain about there for a moment. So we will start our Heritage Day later. What Jeffrey may.
Yeah, so he's willing to come to Heritage Day in the afternoon. We're going to do a PowerPoint presentation, but it's not really feasible at the museum. So what we discussed as a potential alternative was, because he has a lot of photographs, getting the banner or a poster board printed, which could then be used for display at the museum. So if we did an outdoor banner, it could actually be pinned to Harlan's hut. So it would be right next to the hydro bridge that's there, or a poster board could be set up in the church or in the store. So Jeff is sort of willing to stand outside, talk to visitors and sort of answer questions for the afternoon. Just sort of an approximate cost for doing an outdoor banner at Staples would be about, it will start at about $72.99. So.
Jeffrey runs, he's got a Facebook page, it's called The Bit of the Bay. So, and he also used to work for Hydro One, and he was involved in the dam in Nipissing.
Oh, okay.
He was involved in that project. So, he shared some pictures on his Facebook page. So I commented and said, hey, would you like to come to the museum and talk about this? And he said, well, I've donated lots of stuff down there, and I know that he has been in touch with the museum over the years. And so he's willing to come out and talk about the dam, which I think would be very interesting.
Yeah, cool, nice.
So what kind of banner do you?
The size, I think the smallest outdoor banner size was 24 inches by 48.
And what would that banner say?
It would be mostly probably photographs,
Okay.
because he has a large collection of photographs.
Is he going to get it and we're paying him or? who's making the
Um,
banner?
Well, we weren't sure about that. I sort of figured I'd ask what you guys wanted to do and then let the township know what we want and they tell us how to go about it.
And we would have that banner forever, right?
Yeah.
And do we have anything inside the museum on the dam? Did you find anything?
Not yet.
You say that he has.
He said he'll stop by, like, I'm gonna call him tomorrow, let him know what the board's decision was for the banner. Then he'll start putting it together and he's gonna provide the museum. There's also probably stuff in there that was donated back to people, but I don't necessarily know what it is. I'm just gonna take a look around and sort of plan things out. Let me know.
So, what time of day is he going to come?
I let him know that it was gonna be in the afternoon, evening,
Yeah, so,
and he said that was fine.
okay. Is everybody okay with the banner?
I think it's great.
I think we need to go larger than the 24 by
Larger?
48 if we're going to be doing multiple photos to like have
Yeah.
any sort of crowd around.
Yeah, it would really, yeah.
Yeah, 48 is only 4 feet.
See what size he's comfortable with and then check it. So
Even 24 by 9 feet, 12 feet.
Well, check what size the dimensions might be, like, we're putting it up on Harlan's.
Yeah, check
I'll check
Harley's.
the-
Whatever the dimensions of the ladder, then that's what you kind of should go with.
Okay.
Because then more than, people can stand around in front of it, and look at it and not be standing in line to
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah.
Like the line
For
can
the
just kind of
person
move
back,
by
might not
and.
be able to see it.
Waterproof in case we have,
It should, otherwise it should be still.
Good. Okay, we'll leave that for you then. Okay, yeah, so do we want to have a barbecue late in the day, like we usually have a barbecue on Heritage Day? The fire department normally helps us run that. So here's the plan, on our Heritage Day, on August the 20th, the rec committee is going to have the outdoor movie. So that's why we've decided to have her change it up a little bit this year, Heritage Day. It's been slow the past few years, so if Jeff comes late in the afternoon, he will have his display. That will be what we're working on this year. That could be followed with a barbecue. Then it goes into the movie. Does that sound good for everybody?
Mhm.
We just have to coordinate our times and
We have to talk to the fire department and see if they're okay with that
I
time.
already kind of, well, yeah, they will be there for the movie. So,
What's the
Oh,
movie?
oh, sorry. The rec committee will be there. Would they be able to help us with the barbecue?
I can ask them.
Okay.
Yeah, the movie's direct committee, so
The movie's what?
the movie's direct committee, so.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I
Did
can
you
ask.
get one yet? Did you get a movie?
We're still waiting to hear.
Okay, all right. So those are the kind of things that can go in city together. Upcoming, we can mention the date. We'll be working in combination with rec committee. There will be a barbecue, what the Heritage Day will be about. That kind of stuff.
What times are we thinking? I know we're saying afternoon into
Yeah,
things, but let's
yeah.
get some details.
Exactly,
Like, does the barbecue 4 to 7 kind of make sense of
does to me.
capturing the people that are just coming from the movie, closer to the end, and kind of start 2 o'clock with some of the other events and things going on?
2 to 4 maybe, and then 4 to 7. And then.
Well, I think you can keep them going a little bit longer even than the 2 to 4.
I
Like,
mean, people are still
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
look
while
at
they're eating,
it.
they're
Yeah,
gonna wanna
Yeah,
overlap and,
barbecue could start at what, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like we can start at 2, say it's from 2 to
yeah,
movie time, but the barbecue's from 4 to 7.
yeah, okay. So we can go with those
And the
times.
movie's at 8, is it? Or-
Well,
it's
whatever.
dusk. is
Oh, okay, yeah. So-
End of August, it should be what, 8:39-ish? I'm thinking,
We're thinking 8:30, 8:45.
yeah. So in the newsletter, something like make a day of it, displays, stay for the barbecue, followed by the drive-in movie.
Probably talk about the candy store for the movie night too.
Yeah.
Just, grab your candy before you start.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so in the consent, we're gonna take candy over to the park, how,
Well,
or
I think we will keep the candy store open till a
just
certain
until
time.
8:30 and then.
That's right. then
Till the movie starts.
That's
They
right.
keep the candy store open till the movie
They
starts.
can buy their goods and then it's closed. They can buy their drinks and everything. Yeah. Movie's what, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most, so. So you can, something like you can purchase your snacks, your drinks, the museum will, candy store will be open until 8:30 that evening. And I think we can talk about the fall festival at the next meeting, or do you have anything planned for that yet?
No, I was sort of thinking about what, if we're gonna have vendors, what are the criteria? Should we create an application form so that people who are planning ahead can start submitting those?
Because it's something like that, you want to get that started now.
Yeah, oh
and
yeah.
have vendors so they can plan.
Oh, sorry, the other thing I almost forgot, for Heritage Day, we have our silent auction.
Yep.
So you want to put that in the newsletter also. And have you started calling any of those people yet?
No, Kris is going to, we made a point and she's gonna help me with a bunch of things, including silent auction list.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Because that should be, we should get on that. right
Yeah,
away,
because we do already have someone who's offered a donation.
Good, because some of the bigger places like one of the marinas, they only give out so many donations a year. The longer we wait.
Was it Home Hardware last year that had the popcorn machine?
Yes.
Yes.
that will be fun.
Yes, yes. we have-
Something for the movie night, right?
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Have you contacted them yet?
Not yet.
Okay. That's,
Yeah, I have to contact.
I'll make sure.
17, I don't have it memorized, but.
Yeah, they would have to look it up.
Okay.
So, what kind of venues are we looking for the fall festival?
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Because now is the time to get the newsletter.
So I think the original idea had been food, because it's gonna be harvest time.
Yeah.
Do we want to limit it in any way, or just say anyone who wants to come? Occasional, it's not like so.
I think locally made or like
I
something
was
that's
gonna say
like,
anything.
like, because I mean, you're gonna have
Okay.
people with that, they're Tupperware and those kinds of people are the ones that are really aggressive on getting to vendor stays, and I don't think that
Locally,
that's
locally.
cultural thing.
So, and then if we could define local, that anyone. who-
Local is someone who's,
Township? or-
someone who's crafting their own stuff and bringing it. If they're willing to travel that far,
Doesn't
I don't
matter
think
where
we
they
need to
come
limit
from.
it.
Okay,
Doesn't matter where they come from, as long as it's handmade.
and
Okay.
they made it.
And it's
It's not
from
commercial.
Ontario.
pardon?
And it's from
Yeah,
Ontario.
Ontario. Yeah, okay, don't bring your stuff from Michigan.
Will be really disappointed. They won't have, it'll probably cost more to travel with the price of gas.
So I would advertise that we're looking for that now.
And because when you're a vendor, you have to submit your own application to the health unit, it doesn't really matter what they're selling. My understanding, like they'll have to get their own approval.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they-
that's-
Correct.
Yeah.
We're
So
not,
whatever
Unless
that-
there's a change.
are we?
Do we have a date for the fall festival? Do you have a date out for us?
September 10th, which is Saturday. So the only other question I had is, are we going to charge a fee to vendors? Or not?
I thought we had originally discussed not to, since it was the
That's right.
first
I
time.
think what we first discussed had been like people harvesting veggies in their garden, but if we're getting sort of more commercial vendors, I was wondering, I just I'm just asking.
Given the amount of people we attract right now, I think we're excited by what the vendors could help bring to us
Already,
as
yeah.
opposed to
Does it?
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah. I
Then
just need
once
to
we
know.
have them talk.
Yeah. Well, if we could build it up,
Exactly.
Every year,
You want
you know,
people to
starting at one.
participate.
Yeah.
Well, maybe brushing on pecuniary interest, I'll probably be a vendor.
Okay.
And I have a large audience that travels to where I go.
is that your basis?
Yeah, we do canning and all sorts of things. in the backyard.
Well, there's no pecuniary if you're not, there's no.
There's no, yeah,
Yeah,
it's, there's no,
yeah.
yeah. I just don't like self-promotion where it's a business of not.
Yeah, will we be
Hey.
asking them to bring their own tents and tables?
That's a good
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
they're vending,
We don't need
they're
that.
responsible.
Okay.
Councilor,
Yeah.
the other thing we have to keep in mind now is the church is sold. So we might lose our pathway in between the museum and the park.
Okay, we'll just put a fence that can go on the road.
So,
Yeah.
or maybe we could talk to the other neighbor to see if we can go along that side.
Oh, yeah.
But the
Could we
church is-
contact the people at the church, the new owners?
I don't know who it is yet. I haven't met them yet.
Oh,
But it,
I thought that there was an agreement that the church was still being, okay, okay.
I met them last summer. They seemed very nice. So they might be fine with it if we ask them. If
Mhm.
we can find some of their contact information.
Okay. Do you
especially
have
if
that,
it's for
Brenda?
an event.
Do you know who the new owners are? No.
I don't off the top of my head,
Okay.
no, I don't have that.
I
information.
might have a need for you to call.
Yeah, I would know who to call, but that's,
Yeah, I just think we should look at getting rid of permission to
yes,
travel across that.
Yeah,
smart,
yeah, that,
good thought.
because somebody has to accept liability for that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Or we could
Cross.
just kind of fence on the museum property and make sure there's
throw this
signage.
away, yes.
Should be in the directory. If not, let me know. Okay, so all of that stuff will need to be into the newsletter. then.
Yeah, oh, last thing, for the fall festival, I called Bob Bartlett and,
You did tell me. Yeah.
I don't think I told everyone else, but, you can make it to Heritage Day, so ask them to fall fair, so we'll come and do a demo if we want.
Oh,
First have to sort of confirm it with them.
Yeah. That sounds great.
Yeah,
So that,
Mhm.
That's the Blacksmith?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
good,
he's
good.
starting strong.
Yeah. he's so charismatic with the people around.
Oh, he's great.
Like, they just, he draws them right in.
Yeah. And Kristen needs this before, when you give it to her tomorrow.
yeah,
Well, to the newsletter,
Yes, yeah.
because the draft came out,
Yeah, but she said it did include, still waiting for a committee and
oh, right, yeah.
board group, so. Okay. That's everything? Yeah. Okay, any questions for Jillian? So we will move on. Jillian's already talked about the May 21st grand opening. And she's already talked about all of the activity planning. Don't forget to put your work order in the tents. And I think those are the forms, which you probably already done, right?
I read that, I just have to back it.
Okay. So next on the agenda was the structural engineers report. From what I understood, it's not as bad as they thought, and we don't have a price yet for when they will be fixing those walls.
Now, if that said, the blocks must not be all structural, there must be filler at some point.
I have no idea what that's.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you could use some fillers and then the blocks.
yeah.
That might be what.
We'll get further information. I don't imagine they'd do that work until we close or next spring.
Yeah.
Okay, and then under new business, we talked about advertising, we've taken care of that.
The only other thing is, Someone mentioned updating business cards or brochures. Do we want to still do that or focus on online presence?
But we should still have a few brochures. I think they can do those in-house. The office.
That makes sense to still put the brochures.
Yeah, I think the brochure is a good idea for people to track, like they want to remember when they've been and they. Business cards,
Probably not.
I don't think so. We did that when
I
we
don't
opened
think
it, and we
it's-
attached it to the gift bag, but no, people know where we are.
We should go to some of the businesses and drop off brochures at some of the camps and things.
That's what we have done that in the past. The other thing we've done in the past is, we've taken flyers for each event. We pre-made them. Had several, because some of these places have 10 or 11 cottages, and they switch over once a week. So we've asked them to put them in their cottages so that people have something to look at. So we did a big promotion on that when we first opened the campus.
Yeah.
So,
And then every year we've always, well, not the last two, we've always taken it like to the park. and-
yes, yes.
And the stores
Yeah,
and stuff like
Nora
that.
and I, that year we did this, we hand delivered them. But if you're working with Kris anyway to get businesses for donations, she will have the businesses of all those numbers of all those campers. You could call them, ask them if they'd be interested, there's no sense in sending us if they don't want them there. And how many would they need per week? And then,
Or even if they just put one up, stuck one up in the cottage and left. it, so that it was
well, if
there.
they did that, yeah. If they could just do that, or they need.
Because I know last year, two people came to me, said they'd seen the flyer that was at Resto Park.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's why they were there.
Now, they don't have mail down there at Bristol Park, so I usually try and find somebody that's going, yeah, oh, James goes down there quite a bit, I think, yeah.
I put the one up that was there. Well, when's Heritage Days? I think the kids are going camping there early in August too. I'd probably be back there anyway.
So we should get it out, right, we should, even if we made one large flyer with all the dates and everything.
Do you want to do that?
Yes,
might be a better
yeah,
idea.
yeah, and then it's got all of the dates and,
Make one trip for everything.
that's right, yeah,
All the cottages and stuff are all on the website under your accommodations
yeah.
with all the contact numbers.
Yeah, all the businesses in Nipissing are on the website.
You might have a file there too, that we put together.
I found that actually, I'm not sure if it has all the dates listed, but it's like I have to do
Mhm.
this for all.
The other thing,
But if it's too big, then the store one for that's gonna,
no, it doesn't have to make it
Small
any size,
size,
but yeah,
yeah.
instead of making it separate.
because on the ones, like the ones for the stores and stuff, they don't have a whole lot of room in all those stores.
If you want to deliver a flyer to Resto, I'm out that way.
You could take one maybe to the store and post office.
Yeah, there's the
Oh,
store,
and
there's the
Resto?
store, the
Yeah.
post office in the park.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
That's the three
Did
places.
anybody
where they
open
go.
up an ice cream shop or anything at the corner? Did that,
Oh, Buck's Restaurant.
Yeah, well, that was a restaurant, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the meat market, we put flyers in there too.
yeah, no bay, yeah.
So there's probably a half a dozen.
Yeah, that's nice.
Well, they- last time we did it, they wasn't very expensive. The restaurant was closed.
Well, restaurant's open now.
Restaurant's open now, nobody.
yeah, and Mill Bay's very busy, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was really good. He picked us up the pop shop from down south.
Matt, yeah.
Yeah, he's,
yeah.
Oh, we're at a pop shop. Pop.
yeah, I'm going in tomorrow.
Okay, perfect.
If they have it, if they don't, we won't be getting it. And if they do, I'm just gonna get the lime roti, that's all. I'll get it. Okay,
For advertising,
yeah.
is there anything we want to do with the 250 people at the park every Tuesday night? We can try and draw some of their eyeballs over to being right beside us at
Yeah.
soccer.
I think the local stores are staying open with their ice cream.
Yes,
I don't want to impose on a business.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mean like open candy store.
Yeah,
or anything. I'm just wondering like,
Is there not a bulletin board in the little thingy that like
No,
you
there
put, they
isn't.
put up, no?
There's no,
No,
Nothing
we
inside?
should, we should be competing.
no, I don't want to do that. No. But you could let the school know that we're open for tours. I mean, I don't know if they have anything planned for June, but you are open for tours if they want to have a tour. If you've got some new displays, and it's been a while since the children have been in.
Especially the last week of school. It's
Yeah.
something fun to do.
Yeah,
walk
it is,
down the
yeah.
road.
Yeah, get them out of the classroom.
Yeah, and let them know there's a heritage garden there.
Well, it doesn't look like much.
Wow. Yeah. And take, do you still have that thing where you put your head in, get pictures taken?
I think so.
Okay.
What? I remember it being very difficult to get up. I'm not sure that this is, needed. Well, do you want help?
Oh, I remember you couldn't find the holes, they. drilled
Although
holes.
there's no holes because they replaced the porch, so we could just put it in anywhere.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, it's not a big deal.
Oh, I've also asked Jillian to check with our painter from last year. Front door, we had some trouble, it was sticky when he painted, so. maybe
Yeah, I did also notice that, because the side door is presumably with the old paint, it's also got scratched. So I don't know if it's. Probably.
But he did say he would come back, right? Yes, to touch it up. You could maybe talk to him and ask him if there's a better paint that we could use in the future. More durable. Anything else on advertising? We discussed the Facebook page. Talked about the municipal newsletter. Did I miss anything?
No.
Okay. You're finished, Joan? Okay, so that's,
Oh, sorry, Pi Day, it's July 17th, but is there any other discussion or just,
one my day.
yeah?
I did ask about. the
Since
music.
it's July 17th, and it's,
Yeah, the church is still going, right?
What?
Is the church still open?
right now
There's
it
some-
is,
they're
but I don't
saying
know
they
if
are
it's new
so far, but-
information, it sounds like.
You don't know.
Okay,
Well, they're still advertising on Facebook every Sunday that they're having services.
And I still get my notices by email, but yeah, there must be more information. I'll
Okay.
phone Nora Beth.
okay, because we normally
Find out.
would start at 10 a.m. to accommodate the church people for Friday.
Okay. And how long would you like
And then
to
you
run?
should go till 2?
Yeah, or until we run out.
Yeah. Okay. That's it?
Oh, no, sorry, there was one more. I had asked about, do we want to have live music? How much of the budget do we want to go to that? Just because if I'm contacting people and they ask me how much, or if the museum is willing to pay something, so that I can tell them.
I have some like back of the head, something that Chris said, there's like a standard for what the township's willing to do with like
Okay.
a stipend. I don't know where she would have told me this or why, or,
You mean for music?
yeah, like I feel like there was like something about,
We've always budgeted for it
yeah, I'm not sure.
at our level anyway.
But if the township office has a particular amount, we'll have to go by that amount. So
Mhm.
They've never shared that with us.
I don't know why, I
Yeah.
just feel like I've heard it in passing somewhere, so I could be 100% totally wrong,
But it's better to check.
but I just feel like I heard it somewhere. in
well, I can
passing.
ask her, and then if there isn't, then we can.
Yeah, because I don't remember ever seeing anything like
No, no, wow, just for a long time, and we've paid, we've had volunteers, we've had lip sing as talent, we've had all kinds of entertainment that
I
way.
could be making this up, if you had a
Yeah.
dream or something. Or hear lots of things in the day.
On that note, does anyone also have any suggestions about who to contact? No,
For what?
or a band, just in terms of local
Not
bands?
Ron McGreen, because he just had an operation on his little finger.
Well,
So
there's
we had the Jim
there's
Houston band last
Bernie
year.
Penny, there's Jim Houston.
Jim
Carolyn.
Houston band has come before, and he's been very good to us.
Yeah,
And
He played at Canada last weekend.
Yes, yeah, I hear that.
he's just up on the Quabbie Lake. so
And he's
local.
local, so it's fantastic.
Well, I was wondering, since we have 3 different events if we have 3 different
If you can find three.
That's a good idea. You can try that out.
It makes sense to,
Just because then we can also say we have these 3 different events, what would you be able
Yeah.
willing to come to? What was the first one you said, Brenda?
Well, Bernie Penny, but I don't know if he still has his band. He's out of Flossin,
About,
but I think they just moved to North Bay, but there's some Renee
calendar, eh?
White.
Renee and Gary.
Yeah. They always like to do things like this. And they're very good. Yeah,
And Gary is
he's
a
awesome.
really good picker.
Yeah,
Also heard one of the students last year, I think her grandmother was in a band called Lace, but when I tried to look it up, it was,
Yeah, they don't usually charge.
I couldn't find contact information
had
because there was too
them
much other
yeah.
stuff online, so if someone has.
They would come out in the straw man and neither of them straw hat man, they don't charge.
Last year when we talked about Straw Hat Man. it was,
oh, that's too bad. Did we mention Cats and Jammers already? Are they still on?
No, we didn't mention
Cats
Cats
and
and
Jammers,
Jammers.
'cause, yeah, I just thought of Pat. You know, she can-
And then there's, what's this? No, he plays the sax.
You still live in the restaurant?
No,
Dean Falkmeyer knows Cushing Trail Creek, but I don't think they're called.
They've got a few rooms to go there. so
If you can't find anybody and you can't get a contact for Bernie, just give me a call.
Thank you.
oh, you're thinking, no, I was thinking of the Swamp Donkeys.
I think that's what Dean Falkmeyer is, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's what he is, yeah.
Yeah, him and, Davey Malloy, and who's the drummer?
I don't know the other person, there's somebody else.
Some played hockey. Or he coached hockey, didn't he? Yeah. I don't remember his name. Yeah. They'll charge you for it. though.
Oh, probably. Yeah, because they're from.
I know
they're
they-
down
yeah.
to-
Okay, so when will we have our next meeting? Looks like July the 6th.
That's the first Wednesday of the month.
Okay. Would somebody like to adjourn?
Sorry, can I interrupt? Will the meeting, excuse me, be here again?
Yes,
Okay.
because they all have to be on YouTube now, right? Bill, all meetings?
Oh, so
Yeah.
that's like,
Yeah.
that's from now on. Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Would like to adjourn? Gladys and Chris.
Yeah.
At 8.